maybe just to ground this a little, let's try it out and give you just a chance. Now, as with all guided meditations, this is just a taste. So using this pause to come into presence and also just sense your own sincerity right now, your curiosity about deepening attention. That this is an opportunity to really have more intimacy with your own experience. And know that whatever you do here, you can maybe touch in a little and then perhaps deepen it as you go practice later in the evening or tomorrow. And you can pick right now a place in your life where you know you get stuck and caught in some sort of an emotional reaction that's difficult. But pick something that's not traumatic. If it's too big, you won't have the time to do it justice. It might be something where you're caught in a conflict with another person, or you're caught like this woman with a kind of belief and feeling about your life that's really weighty. Or maybe it's something that's going on with your health, or a reaction you're having to how other people are doing, what another person in your life is doing, or how they're doing it, or how they should be doing it. The beginning of rain is just to recognize in a kind of the gestalt of it, like, okay, so what's happening? What is it? What's the stuck place that's going on? So just recognizing, okay, so this is where my identity is getting kind of caught up, where I'm getting contracted. And just allow it. It's as if you're saying, okay, for right these moments, I'm letting this be. I'm going to make room to investigate. And begin sensing, okay, so what's going on? Perhaps, what is it that I'm believing about myself or about others, about my future? Often the belief has something to do with our own deficiency, has something to do with our lovability, or how well we can perform, or how others are relating to us. Whatever the belief is, and maybe you haven't landed on one, and that's fine. When you're stuck in this situation, reaction, what's it like in your body and in your heart? And you might just put yourself right into the situation in your mind's eye to really get a sense of it. If there's another person involved, see their face, their expression, what they're saying. Listen to the words. Or if it's something you're doing that you don't like, sense yourself right in the midst of it. So you can feel in your body, in your throat, your chest, your belly. What's it like when you're caught? What's it like when you're believing this belief? When you're caught in this reaction? And you might even sense how long this has been going on and how often, in some way, this contraction of your being is taking place. Keep shining the light of attention right on the vulnerability. So that whatever's going on inside you right now, it's not like some specific experience should be happening. Just pay attention to your body, your heart. And if there is a place of real vulnerability or fear or anger or hurt, you might ask it what it wants from you. How does it want you to be with it? Does it want your compassion, your acceptance? Just for you to understand it's there? Sense the possibility of just responding to what's inside you with kindness. And sense what happens when that's your intention. To respond to whatever is going on in this moment with kindness. What happens? You might ask yourself a question, who would I be if I didn't believe the stories around this, the limiting beliefs? And most important, who am I right this moment as I investigate and hold with a deep attention this inner life? What's your sense of your own being right in these moments? Who are you? Are you the character in your self-story? Or can you sense something larger? Okay, so thus far, how to bring the light of attention to tangles within our own being, with the understanding that the more that's brought into awareness, the more it dissolves that kind of identification, and we get to really inhabit a larger sense of our own being. Now, how do we bring this to each other? And really the question is, how do we do it in a way that can really forge understanding? And we have the equipment to. You know, we are designed, we have this evolved brain that is designed with the mirror neurons, the circuitry for compassion, to be able to bring our attention to each other. And in that same way that wants to know, we can sense moods, we can sense feelings, we can sense a person's intention. We can sense a whole lot. So, because it's really the basis for understanding compassion, this kind of investigating mind, where we're with each other and some part of us is saying, well, what is life like for you? That's the possibility. And yet what we discover is that takes a lot of intention. Even though we have the equipment, it takes a lot of intention, because most moments, what's really going on is our thoughts are very, not investigating our inner life, but self-centered. Here's what I want, here's what I need, here's what I need to do to be more comfortable, here's what I think I need to do so you'll like me. Whatever it is, it's self-centered. So that our way of looking at each other is really through the filter of our own wants and needs. That's different than this compassion circuitry that's seeing what's life like for you. Story to illustrate is older woman who's in Miami on a park bench, and a very disheveled guy with tattered clothing comes and sits down next to her. So she asks him, how are you doing? And he goes, well, I'm just out of prison, 25 years. And she says, oh, well, what were you in for? And he said, murdering my wife. And she goes, oh, so you're single? It's a terrible joke, I know. I actually like it. I think it's kind of funny, but but I shared it because really the truth is we ask questions, but it's not because we truly want to know who's there. We ask questions out of being kind of habitual, and we ask questions because we're trying to attune on how we can be safe or who's going to have more power or how others are relating to us. It's rarely from that purity that just is asking, what is life like for you? How do you experience life? Which is such a beautiful space to ask a question from. So it's humbling to realize that that self-concern has to, comes into play with those that we live with and spend time with. We don't often look very closely. You can just scan in your mind right now somebody that you see perhaps every day. And have you been enough in a space of presence that you could just be curious and wonder and sense, well, how are things going really for this person from the inside? And I don't put that out there to put us all down, but it takes intention. So even more so with those we don't know who are different from us, they become unreal others. We don't begin to wonder what it's like for a person that feels very different from us. We rarely try to, Thoreau puts it this way, the miracle is to look through another's eyes for even a moment. We don't do that. Yet, if we're to bridge the conflict and the pain and the gap between different peoples, between societies and between races, the differences between people of different beliefs, if we're to begin to move towards peace and understanding, it's going to take this intention to step outside our familiar zone of thoughts and feelings and say, what is it like for that person? Or for those people? It's critical. And the reason is because as soon as someone's an unreal other and we don't sense their subjectivity, that that person hurts, that that person wants to feel happy like I want to feel happy, that that person does not want to suffer, if we can't sense that in a visceral way, they can become an enemy who we're willing to hurt. You won't hurt somebody that you've really paid close attention to, because they become human and like us. So we need to be able to deepen our attention in an authentic way. And I think part of the reason that this is such a difficult season for so many of us, and I've been wanting to speak to it some, this election season and the way things are in terms of the federal budget and the tension that people are feeling economically and job security. But I think there's an undercurrent that makes it not just anxiety, but distressing, which is that we're operating in a system where a lot of people feel a real loss of trust, that there is less and less possibility for real dialogue, less and less possibility that leaders will really look and see the needs and feel the needs and respond to the needs, and it's more and more a play of aggression and greed and power. And I think that there's a kind of despair that comes when we sense how far we are from the possibility of authentic movement towards understanding needs and responding to them. Not only that, I think there's a kind of despair, a sense of jadedness or cynicism, because there's not a trust that it's a fair playing ground. I mean, there's been so much so challenging around electoral fraud, and really this level of suspicion that you don't know what's going on behind the lines that we might have had for other countries that seem corrupt that have now come into this country. I think it creates a mood that has people feeling very disenfranchised, like they can't trust this world that we're in. Now, I bring that up. I mean, there's a movement afoot called mindfulvote.org, some of you might know about, that is seeing that. It's nonpartisan. It's saying, look, if we're going to be committing to mindfulness and waking up in our lives, it has to do with how we live our lives with each other and in the society. And what that means, it's our responsibility to be engaged. It's our responsibility to vote. And it's our responsibility to be engaged in a mindful way that doesn't create an unreal other, an enemy. That our way of talking and behaving is not one of disrespect. That we're not wishing harm for others. That doesn't mean we don't fight like crazy for what we believe in. But it's not from a place of hatred. It's from a place of care. And so that's what this movement is intending to bring forward, because it's so easy to feel that sense of discouragement and just pull back and say, this isn't a world I want to belong to. So the miracle is to stay in the mix and begin to look through each other's eyes and have the kind of dialogue that forges understanding so we can respond to the needs that are here in a way that heals. The beginning of that capacity is if we're doing it in our own lives with the people we see every day. So I'm wishing for us to do it on a systems level, but it needs to be in our heart that we have this capacity to pause and see who's here. Because it's that sense of our mutual belonging that'll have us act for the good. So we practice for a moment again, if you will. This will be our last practice of the evening. And as you set yourself, just to, again, frame this whole process we're exploring tonight, that we have this capacity to bring our curiosity and our interest and the light of our awareness to what's here in a way that reveals truth, in a way that opens our hearts. And we can do it with the tangles of emotions within our own being. We can do it when we sense what's happening for another person. And we can do it by then asking the question, really, who am I? Who am I in this moment? Who's here? So we'll finish the evening with a practice that explores on that level, but just to say that when we engage ourselves in this kind of inquiry, or we pause and look more deeply, it really turns life into an adventure. Because wherever we pay deeper attention, we wake up. I mean, Henry Miller put it this way. He said, the moment one gives close attention to anything, even a blade of grass, it becomes a mysterious, awesome, indescribably magnificent world in itself. So the last meditation will be, how do we bring this investigation to another person and right into our own awareness? And so I invite you, as you're sitting here now, to bring a person to mind, someone you see regularly, who you know is having a hard time. It's ideal not to bring up someone that you have a real reaction to, because that's doable but more complex. But somebody who's having a hard time. And let these moments be one where you allow yourself to get closer into what's really going on for this person. So begin to investigate. What is it like for this person? Can you, as Thoreau put it, look through this person's eyes for a few moments? You might try on the person's body, just since you're in that body. You're looking through this face and these eyes. What is going on for this person in his or her life? What are the circumstances that are causing disappointment or anxiety, fear, anger? What's it like for this person? What's it like in this person's body and heart to feel that? Sometimes it helps if you breathe in and sense your willingness to just feel and be touched by what this person might be experiencing. And with the out-breath, just sense that it's being held in something larger, that there's room. That you're willing to feel this person's hurt, fear. And you might sense as you do, what does this person most need? What's the quality of presence this person most needs from you? You might imagine and sense yourself extending that quality of presence. Feeling your care. Sensing the person in your heart, so it's not kind of pity from an abstract or distant point of view. This is part of you. And now here's the question for you. Who are you when you're opening your heart-mind to the experience of another? What's your sense of your own being? You can let go of any idea of another person, and let's conclude tonight by just opening to what's right here in this moment again. So I'm coming back to my first question for you. What is happening inside you right now? What's predominant? Are you aware of sensations? Are you aware of a certain mood? Are you aware of the sounds that are here? See if you can let what you're aware of, sounds or sensations or feelings, be in the foreground. But also notice that alert inner stillness in the background, that which is aware. Just look into that background, into that awareness, and investigate. Who am I? Just open and curious. Who am I? And then you can just let go then into whatever you see. Just be that awakeness, that vastness, that mystery. I'd like to close with the words of Rumi. One matter, one energy, one light, endlessly emanating all things. One bright turning diamond, one. Ground yourself, strip yourself down to blind, loving silence. Ground yourself, strip yourself down to blind, loving silence. Stay there until you see you are gazing at the light with its own ageless eyes. Stay there until you see you are gazing at the light with its own ageless eyes. Namaste. And thank you for your attention.